Well, well, well. Your auntie's gonna have to give you a little bit of tough love right now. You know, my page is TJ Life Lessons because, again, your auntie's about to be 58. And by God's grace, you don't get to be 58 without having gone through, experienced some things, and learned some lessons. So I'm here to share them with you. Take a look at this. I heard of the Floribama shore, but I've never actually watched it. But this came along my feed today, and I was reading it, and I felt a sense of foreboding and definitely grief for this young man that did not know. But it reminded me of some things in my own experience, my life experience, and I want to share it with y'all, particularly the young people, because there are certain things that you had not considered because I had not considered them either. But I want to share them with you now so you can think forward thinking. Let's go. So, as I was reading the story and, watching some videos, the young man passed away at 33, but he had been in a coma, I believe, for like 2 weeks with a necrotizing pancreatitis. And if my understanding is correct, necrotizing is like flesh eating. I could be wrong. I'm not. But here's the thing. When you are in your 20s and your 30s, you do not think that you will be in such a serious health condition. And I will tell you, it is far more normal for young people to have serious health conditions now than it was when I was that age. And what really got to me is that he didn't have any health insurance. Now, I was thinking, I'm like, this young man, again, I don't know how much people make on these reality shows, but I would imagine it's a decent salary because he was on there for 4 seasons. And he did not have any health insurance. And there could be a couple of reasons for that. Maybe one, okay, he didn't think, I'm going to need it. I'm healthy. I'm 30 something. I don't need it. Or two, maybe he thought he couldn't afford it. But I'm here to tell you, again, without knowing, I'm willing to bet that he probably could have afforded it. Okay? And a lot of young people don't think that. So I want you to think about how many of you have jobs that you have full medical benefits and you have the opportunity to get long-term health insurance and you choose not to get it because you don't think that you're going to need it because you don't want them taking that extra money out your check. Only later to find out maybe something unexpectedly will happen and that long-term health insurance will continue to pay you a large portion of your salary or if you are incapacitated. And I was thinking about that because when you're young, a lot of times we have our priorities mixed up. And I say it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. Before I had my daughter, I was not very responsible with my money and my body. Okay? But one thing for sure, two things for certain. When I got pregnant with her, I knew I had to make some changes. From the time that I was pregnant with her, I made sure I had life insurance. Now, of course, I had it through the military, but even a little extra. Definitely by the time when I went on active duty. Now, before I went on active duty, I didn't have health insurance for me, but there was health insurance through the state, I believe. But at any rate, she had it. So I had to make some different decisions. But before I had her, I would go shopping before I would pay my bills. Dooney and Burke was the handbag of choice back in my early 20s, early to mid 20s. And I had a roommate, my best friend, since we were 8 years old. And when it came time for my portion of the rent, I didn't have it because I had bought me a Dooney and Burke handbag. And what made me think about this because, as much as I am contemplating whether or not I want to buy a ticket for the Beyonce tour or Beyonce concert, I had to measure what I want to do versus what I need to do. Yeah, we're fine, we're okay, but I still have to think about, okay, I have the long-term plan. I can't afford to do something in the moment in the event that something else down the line could be more pressing. Now you may say, well, if you got to think about it that hard, you shouldn't go. And you're right. But how many of you would think that? How many of you would think that? Because it amounts to a lot of times you do what you want to do with your money, and then when the crap hits the fan, you do what you need to do with somebody else's. And that's not fair to other people who make different choices, who make more responsible choices. And I'm saying these things because I learned the life lesson. I'm just grateful that in my early 20s and 30s, I did not have anything where I needed to be out for extended periods of time without any health insurance. Because by that time, I was on active duty. And I understand that that's not going to be the choice for everyone. But what I would caution you to do, even if you're an entrepreneur, there are health insurance policies that you could get for yourself. And that means, taking, a little less money on the front end, but it could pay you dividends on the back end. Because see, here's the thing, like anything, it's like even with car insurance, house insurance, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. And parents, particularly if you are young parents, if you are thinking about wasting your money, and I'm not going to say wasting your money, if you're thinking about going to a concert, as an example, and spending this amount of money for a concert to have a good time, but you have not made provision for your small children, and I say small children, meaning any child under 18, you are doing them a disservice. You are doing them a disservice. I'm going to say this again. If you are going on these trips, going to concerts, spending money, and you have not put something in place, i.e. a life insurance policy, that should something happen to you untimely, whether it be sickness, accident, or whatever, that you can ensure that your children are taken care of, you are doing them a disservice. So lastly, if you all have a job and work for a company, it is worth it to take out that extra money from your check for long-term care in the event that something happens to you that you can't work. You will still be paid. And consider it an investment in yourself and for your family to take the load off of them. If you are unable to work, you still got the money coming in. And even if you're an entrepreneur, so I'm not sure if the same thing applies. I'm not sure, but it's worth looking into. Because for that young man, his family and friends are taking up a GoFundMe to take care of his medical medical expenses. And again, I'm sure he probably didn't think at 33 that would be his story. But because we don't know, we have to plan for what the possibilities or what could be. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Take that with you.